Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Sadie and Friends. This weather has made me absolutely insane because I get excited. Yes! I get incredibly excited when I look outside in the morning and their sun is out and there are birds. And I know it's going to be like a fresh window open day. It's going to be just beautiful all day. And then typical Colorado, the next day it is snowing. It's freezing outside. You're turning your furnace back on. I mean, sometimes you got to think in Colorado, your temperature system with your home is just up and down and crazy and all around because Colorado weather is so insane. It's bonkers. So you want to call my friends at Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air and have them come out for that special spring tune-up. It's only $99 and they make sure that all the filters are changed. They check all the different sensors and they make sure that between the ups and the downs and the temperature of your home, you are going to be comfortable. And you may think to yourself, well, my system, it's running fine. When I want cold air, it pumps out cold air and vice versa with the hot air. What if I told you maybe your system is running hard in order to produce that temperature for you? Think about it. Is it being bogged down from years of use? Does it need to be cleaned out, kind of tuned up? Just like a vehicle. You want to get the most bang for your buck. And when that energy bill comes, you want to know that you are saving money and you can do that. Or maybe you need a brand new AC unit altogether or furnace. Call my friends, Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air, or better yet, to read the info on their spring sale right there on the homepage. Just go to polarbearpha.com. That's polarbearpha.com. Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air, a proud sponsor of the Sadie and Friends podcast.
I'm going to say the thing you're not supposed to say.
Let's talk about marriage.
They have like a 2-second rebound rate and you're back doing the next pain in the ass thing.
Parenting. Oh my gosh.
They have sucked the pretty right out of me. They treat me like it, and I do their laundry. Lucky me.
Sex.
I'm caught between two evils. I generally like to take the one I never tried.
Scary stuff like ghosts. I know it's totally out of left field, but just go with me on this.
Boo, you whore.
Love.
I give you what you need. That's all. I'm talking about taking care of each other the best you can. What's wrong with taking care of a woman? She takes care of you.
Friendships.
We get our necklace says best friends forever.
You sure you want it to say forever? I don't think you guys will be best friends forever, no offense, but sometimes you grow apart. And maybe she'll find a new best friend. They end up doing everything together.
We record this on the Sunday of Easter, the Sunday evening of Easter, and we're both fresh back from lovely days with our families. But let me explain, when you go to David and Carol Woods, Sadie, it's an ordeal. First of all, there were 17 of us today, and that's only about half the family.
Oh, wow.
And you get there and say, okay, everybody get there at 12:30. Well, finally, everybody arrives around 1:45, 2 o'clock. And then you have to have cocktails and you have to have appetizers. You have to have dinner and you have to have dessert. And it's all awesome, by the way. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it is a 5.5 to 6 hour commitment. Your people got there at 3 and we're recording this around 5:30 in the evening. Explain how that works.
Because we're all the same. We are one and the same, where we are there to eat and say hello, and then we are gone. We're like vampire people. We have this fear of being out past dark. And so it was about 3:30. Everybody got here around, well, actually, so everybody ended up kind of moseying in early, like around 1:30. And so we ate pretty quickly, but I mean, we were together for longer. But yeah, they were gone by not long after 3:30.
You say we're going to have tacos for Jesus, and Tacos for Jesus begins at 3 o'clock. Are the tacos prepared when they get there?
No, because if you're expecting a 3 o'clock and then you get a 1 o'clock, but that's kind of the good thing about family is we all just kind of sit around and my dad drinks a Corona and we just stand in the kitchen and talk, and it's fun. It's enjoyable. So I don't care. My family can come whenever they want.
You also had an Easter egg hunt with Murphy on Saturday morning. Tell me how'd it go?
It went, you know what? I am always amazed at the fact that this beautiful community church put on this wonderful Easter egg hunt. Scott, they had 6,000 eggs.
Oh,
6,000 eggs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're there. We got there like 30 minutes early, got a great spot. You know, the kids are like salivating, you know, and they're getting ready and they say, okay, go. And we timed it 90 seconds. 90 seconds and 6,000 eggs were gone. They were gone. People were starting to walk to their cars. Isn't that amazing? And then I started thinking wild and crazy thoughts like, what if my kids had this much hustle when I told them to clean their room or get dressed or, you know, but it was just shocking. They were like little gophers that just went to town and then there was nothing. Everything was picked up. Toothpicks, dog shit. If it wasn't nailed down to the grass, the kids were taking it home in baskets.
I always used to laugh about that because young Scott, 30-something Scott, was very involved in the Greeley JCs. And I got a kick out of that. And the Greeley JCs always put on the great big Easter egg hunts that they annually held downtown Greeley at Ed Lincoln Park. And I always laughed about how we're doing this as a community service project, but we should submit it to like the competitions as a beautification project because we literally would spend weeks in advance.
Yeah.
Weeks stuffing the little plastic eggs and hard boiling the real eggs and going out getting sponsors. And I mean, it would be weeks preparing for this now it took a little bit longer, 3 minutes or so. In 3 minutes or so, everything was gone and they would clean up the park. I mean, so if there was trash, it was,
yes.
And the park looked flawless when they were done because they pick everything up and put it in their little baskets, you know?
I mean, there were kids going home with chicken nugget boxes from McDonald's that were empty and, KFC wrappers and, I mean, dirty diapers. Again, if it wasn't glued or nailed to the grass, these kids were just taking it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, good for them and good for those people. This was a church in this case that put on the Easter egg hunt. And
it was very kind of them, and I'm very appreciative.
Today, also 420 Day.
Yeah.
Usually 420 Day in the state of Colorado, anyway, has been kind of a massive celebration. You think that 420 took a little bit of a back seat to the celebration of the resurrection of the King of the Jews, or do you think they're both up there kind of an equal? Because I haven't seen much coverage of 420 Day on Easter.
I want you to think, so today you had 17 people in your home, right? Or no, at your mother-in-law's home and father-in-law's home. That's a lot of people. Did any of those people at any time say, before we eat, or what a great meal, I think I'll go for a walk?
No.
I think I'll go, no, I'll go wander around. Or they can be ghost protocol where they're just gone and you're like, hey, where'd this person go? I haven't seen him in a while. I think that if anything, maybe it benefited the fact that a lot of people would normally be stressed with so many people in their home that maybe it helped. It came together in harmony. That's what I would think, but that's just me.
Nah, not a one of them. They all stayed around.
You don't have one family member who's like, what the heck? That's a nice car over there. See you in a little bit. No,
I don't. Not one. It's weird. It's weird that way. I'm not saying that my nieces and nephews haven't. I'm just saying I don't think they do it when they're in Mama's and Papa's house.
Yeah, that'd be kind of low down. Nonners and poppers.
Why
are you dancing?
There's too much at stake. They don't want to get thrown out of the will, that kind of thing. And so.
Oh, yeah. You got to behave around nanners and peppers. See, we all pour, and so it doesn't really matter.
Kicking off today, National Park Week, where they waive the entrance fees on the first day to kick off the celebration. 63 national parks in the United States. Some are more popular than others. National Park Service recently shared which places are the most popular in 2024. Number one, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in North Carolina and Tennessee. Never been there.
Gorgeous. I've been there. Smoky Mountain Rain by Ronnie Millsap is like, it's spot on. It's dead on. It's so beautiful. It's a different kind of beautiful.
Number two is Zion National Park in Utah. I believe I've driven through there.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona. I have never been to the Grand Canyon.
I've never been there either. And Ryan and I were just having this conversation about vacations. And he's like, you never want to go where I want to go. And I want to go to the Grand Canyon. And I'm like, what are we going to do? We're going to drive 6 miles. And then what are we going to do? 20 minutes, perhaps? Perhaps for 20 minutes, we're going to stand there and we're going to take in this hole in the ground and the almighty, this has to be a God situation because this is shockingly beautiful. And then after about 20 minutes, and I'm being generous, you start thinking, what are we having for lunch today? What do we have? Should we go? Do you feel like Chinese? Because, okay, let's go there. And so was it worth the 5 or 6 hours? I don't see value in that. What the heck is wrong with me?
I'm with you because I'm a guy that I find vacation must involve palm trees, beaches, swim up bars, cocktails, and nice places to eat. That to me is vacation. Some people like your husband. I want to go camp on the rim of the
devil's butthole. Just like,
backbone.
Please, devil's backbone, butthole. I don't know. All I know is I don't want to camp there. We really are so different when it comes to so many different things. And this is one of them where I believe a vacation should be no responsibility. That means no time you have to be there. You mosey in and out as you please. If you want to sleep till 10, if you want to be up at 6 when the sun comes up, you do you. And then you come back and you feel refreshed. When you go on a vacation with a vacation Nazi and they're like, we must be at the bus by 5 a.m. and we must be here and lunch is at this time. It doesn't matter if you feel like that kind of food. It's just, to me, then I come home and I'm like, I need a vacation from this. Good God, it's too much. I'm like you and you're like me. And Ryan is like some weirdo that wants to hike on the butthole of a devil.
It is this week. It's National Park Week. The number 4 most national park is Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. I have never been there. I will admit to wanting to. I would like to go see Yellowstone.
I have to tell you, my entire family went. I did not go because you and I had to bring Florida Georgia Line up on stage for something and they were complete turd balls. And then I said to myself, I am missing this family vacation. And they were riding horses and they were looking at cool things. And I don't know, I like to relax, but I also kind of felt like I missed out on that just to meet these 2 dudes who I just don't care to meet again. It was not. Scott, would you say that was fireworks when you have to sign a form saying you won't touch them without sanitizer on your hands? As I was signing it, I was thinking to myself, I could be riding a horse at Yellowstone right now. But
did
no.
you really think that? I mean, I know you. Did you really think that?
I did. Yes. When I was signing that form, I thought I could be doing something that's meaningful with my family, that means something, and not meeting Tyler or whatever the other one's name is. It doesn't matter in my life. And I don't know. It's just a weird thing. They're weird.
Number
Thanks
5, Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. That's the one I've been to. That is the only national park, by the way, that I've been to. Rocky Mountain National Park. Then there's a bunch of them on here. Acadia in Maine, Olympic National Park in Washington, Grand Teton National Park, Wyoming, Glacier National Park in Montana. All these beautiful national parks, Sadie. And you and I have been, well, you've been to the Great Smoky Mountains. I've only been to one. Rocky Mountain National Park. That's because it's in our own backyard.
Are you ever weary of people with those year-long passes to get in? Because I am. I don't know. I always just get a weird vibe from, and they're probably the most gentle of all people, loving nature. And I'm like, what's going on there? Like if I were going on a first date and they rolled up and they had a national park sticker year round, I'd say this is not a love connection. That's for real. I'm weary of that, I guess.
We've all seen those people that have the Winnebagos, the Winnebago campers, and they've got they're members of the Good Sam Club, whatever the hell that is. They're a member of the Good Sam Club.
We aren't.
They've got the map on the side of their Winnebago of the different national parks that they've been to. And when they go to them, they can get the color stickers that they fill in the outline with. We've all seen that. I don't want to be one of those people. God bless you if you do. I'm out.
And I also wouldn't want to date one of those people. Like if a good friend of mine was like, anyway, he picked me up in his Winnebago and he had a bunch of stickers on the back, I'd be like, shh, stop right there. You don't want a life like this, because before you know it, you're going to be hiking the Grand Tetons and you're going to be cold and tired and hungry. And I guess I'm just saying that I'm kind of lazy.
There's literally somebody in my life, and somebody that I always considered until they told me this, quite normal. In fact, a friend, I mean, a very normal guy. He and I had a lot in common until I found out that he is planning that retirement where they're going to sell their house, buy the fanciest RV, and then they're going to go RVing for like 3 years. They're those people. I would go and say,
that's my dream.
You're kidding me.
Okay, here's my dream. No. My dream is I do want the fanciest of all fancy RVs. I want it to be like what Tim McGraw would have. Okay. Of course I'm dreaming in my own dreams, because those are like $500,000, if not more. And so this is a lottery dream, but to be able to, I would never fly in an airplane. I would only stay domestically places, and I would never get on another airplane ever again, because think about it. The journey is what it's about. And I don't know. And Ryan's like, if we were to do that, I'd have to be the one that would have to learn how to do all the stuff on it. And he's right. I'm not going to empty the shitter. Are you insane? So we're not going to get an RV.
That is one of the things that I stand fearful of, to be real honest, is the dump, the black water dump, so to speak, that where you have to pump out the, I don't know, because all I got is cousin Whatsy's cousin Eddie. Shitter's full. That's all I've got out of this, and I'm sorry.
I have to tell you, if you ever see this where somebody empties their RV shitter, it is so messed up, man. There's like a hose. It'll just haunt your dreams. It's what I would imagine if you saw somebody having to empty out a Porto John. I can't do it. I can't do a Porto John. Oh my God. We once had a listener who that was his job, was a Porto John cleaner. And I said every morning when I woke up, when I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be like, I just want to sleep, I would think of that guy and I'd be like, I don't have like 32 shitters to hose out today. Life is good. And then I'd come and hang out with Scott, and it was great.
And you remember Bruce, nicest guy on the planet, really a genuine, kind, loyal listener.
So cool.
And that was his job. Portalets. That was his gig.
And he would go all over, and I'd be like, tell me the weirdest thing you've ever found. I wanted to have him on the show every week and be like, what'd you find in the toilet? Because he had like the craziest found in Porto John stories. He was around when, and this was years ago, but years ago, Scott, tell me if you remember this. In the mountains, speaking of the Smoky Mountains, there's a trail, and there is a portolet on the side of the trail, but like kind of one of those permanent ones that you find on the side of a trail. Right. So they found out that there was a dude hiding in that in-ground Porto John. So do you remember this?
Yes. He was really like a sick peeping Tom. Sick.
Oh my God. Like being pooped and peed on. Are you insane? I would die. Oh, I'm sorry. But anyway, Bruce, the Porto John cleaner that we know, he was around for that situation. And I remember him telling us about it, like how the guy ended up getting pulled out. Even if I were a police officer, I'd be like, I am not touching this person. It just shows how weak of a human being I am. I'd be like, no, I quit. Can
you imagine police officers in life or death situations, protecting, serving, keeping us safe, all this kind of stuff. I mean, they're out there, the bullets are flying, they're standing between us and the crazy. But a police officer looked at, wait a minute, you wanted me to apprehend this guy that's down in the pit of an outdoor? I quit.
And won't come out.
I'm out.
And won't come out. So would that be a police situation or a fire situation? You know what I mean? Because
if it's a rescue situation, it becomes fire. But if it's really just apprehended a guy that won't come out, that's police. Yeah.
I could see that be a fight outside. No, this is a you problem. No, this is a you problem. Because you know that guy didn't get out voluntarily. I mean, he was not going to leave. I don't understand that mental fortitude of not just dying from throwing up. And I'm so sorry that the day after Easter, this show's so disgusting, but it was just made me think of that one listener who would call and I would just pelt him with questions about what he's found in porta potties. I wonder if he's still alive.
Who, Bruce or the guy in the portalet? No, I think Bruce is alive.
No, see, I always think of people like that and think, oh, I remember that guy I used to talk to. I wonder if he's still alive. I'm so morbid.
Do you remember speaking of this, kind of a side thing, I had a routine when we worked at the radio station and that I had to go to the county. And what would I do? I would stop by Human Being, and it was a true problem. I mean, I would stop by Human Being 3 to 5 days a week, and I was spending way too much money at Human Being. So all of a sudden, I'm no longer at the radio station, so I'm not stopping by that Human Being over there, by Palomino and over there on Crossroads. Not stopping by there. Julie and I swang by there here a couple of months ago after church. She was like, let's go get a coffee. I said, oh, yeah. And they looked at me, they said, Scott, we were so worried about you. We thought you died.
Well, that would make sense. I mean, how many people in your life, if you really think about it, have you met and then they just disappear? And, they just disappear. You don't know why. Was it a job? Did they die? Did they have to move in the middle of the night? There are so many people like that in life. I think that's interesting.
Here's a young woman on a flight from D.C. to New York City. Had another passenger give her some bad news as the plane was preparing to land. It's Noelia Voigt. Here's what she posted. Some audio here.
A girl next to me and myself just got projectile vomited on a Delta flight. Not a long flight at all, but it was a little bit bumpy because of some rainy weather. We were literally minutes away from landing. It smelled like someone had burped and it smelled like beer. And I had my headphones in. I was listening to music really loudly. So I did not hear this man vomit. The girl sitting next to me taps on my arm and I look at her. She points at me and I realize I have this man's vomit all over my left side. It was on my jacket. It was on my shirt. It was everywhere.
I'm sorry. Why were you going
die? I'd be naked. I would be tearing my clothes off like there were spiders in them. I wouldn't even care, and I'd be throwing them in a pile.
Here's what Delta did. Here's what Delta did to make up for it. Their initial offering was a bunch of napkins to help her clean up and some bonus Sky Miles.
Well, it is Delta's fault.
No, it's not.
Wait, whose fault is it? Is it Delta's fault for having such a bumpy flight?
You can't help that act of God, so to speak. You can't help.
Or what if it's a really bad pilot? I don't know. I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate because, frankly, it's not Delta's fault that this guy yarfed on you. So they really kind of don't owe you anything, even though I myself would be screaming at the clouds like, what the fuck? Oh, that just makes me ill. Ill.
I'm sorry, where have we gone on the day after Easter? I mean, this used to be a classy show. It's never been a classy show.
I'm disgusted. All because we had that listener who cleaned out Porto Johns.
All right. What else did you do this weekend, Sadie? I mean, traditionally on the Monday shows, we talk about the weekend. Anything else?
Okay, let me think. I took my kid on Friday to one of those trampoline places where there's constantly an ambulance waiting out front and
all about the doing.
It's always doing things. And I have to tell you, I am really struggling right now because I feel as though the expectation to have her doing things is just constant, and it's on her. She wants to constantly do things, but then it's like we're expected to do the things. And I tell Ryan, here's the deal, Ryan. When I was a kid, my parents didn't plan shit for me. It wasn't like we're going to go to Urban Air. What are you talking about? It was like, we're going to work. We'll be back at 5. Don't die. And that was literally what my childhood was. And now it's like, well, she has 3 days off from school for Easter. Let's have 2 sleepovers, go swimming once, go to the store, go. And I think, I feel that as though we are doing a disservice, because I think that then her expectations are so lofty and like, well, what do you mean we're not doing anything? I think you have to find peace in just, and I do agree that I do go way too far on this, but I think you have to find peace in just having no plans. No plans. She's totally Ryan, and it is what it is. That means I'm going to soccer till the day I die.
How is soccer practice, by the way?
It's good. It's not my sport. I don't like watching it. I get nervous. I just pace back and forth the whole time. I don't know why. You know what it is? It's because it's competitive. She's in a competitive team, and she's not as competitive because she's a year younger. So she's not as competitive as these older girls. And so it makes me nervous the whole time. She's having the damn time of her life out there. But I am like, oh my gosh. It just, every other sport I like watching, that just gives me such anxiety. Plus, can we talk about sports parents? Not all sports parents, but especially when you get into club sports. That's when they come out of hiding and they're fierce and they'll scratch your face off. And it's frightening. It truly is frightening. And so if you're not from that ilk, or you didn't grow up that way, or you just, it's not in your vein, it's really hard to deal with. It is. Because these parents, they pick and they pick and they pick. And it's really hard.
Switching topics. Have you seen the?
Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I've heard that, Randy. Have you seen the blowback on Katy Perry?
Yes.
The blowback is really coming back on her hard. She's not an astronaut. They keep calling themselves, they were crew members on the Blue Origin. Sadie, if you and I get on a plane and we fly from here to Las Vegas, do we consider ourselves crew members?
No.
We're passengers. Katy Perry was a passenger on a very rich 10-minute flight to space and back, where she got to be. But I'm an astronaut now. No, you're not. Talk to Buzz Aldrin.
That's so insulting.
That was an astronaut.
That is so insulting to anyone who's ever gone to school to be an astronaut. And she's up in space and she's singing, which is so gross in and of itself. And then because I heard a couple interviews that they did after where they're like, you're officially an astronaut. And I'm like, no. If I play Duck Hunt on Nintendo, I'm not a hunter. I'm just pretending to do that. You know what I mean? That bird's not dead.
Even playing Duck Hunt on Nintendo takes more skill than what it took for her to slam her ass into a seat and ride a rocket into space and back. Somebody else was driving. All you did was you probably didn't even buckle the seatbelt.
She was like, oh my God, I didn't buckle my seatbelt.
Sorry.
I think the whole thing was, you know what? Ryan and I go back and forth because he thinks it's any kind of forward moving progress. I'm like, what was that progress? They went up in space for like 6 minutes where she floated around and sang a song. And then they came down and everyone cried and she kissed the ground. And though, the astronauts, I will say it till I die, are side eyeing going, you gotta be shitting me, as she's kissing the ground after 6 minutes in the air. And they were gone for 9 whole months. I think it was all stupid and ridiculous.
I agree.
You got to turn your email off.
It's the same computer that I play audio off of, for crying out loud. So here, let me come over here. And by the way, I get a lot of emails.
It's too late now. We're pretty much done.
Us at scottandsadie.com, by the way, if you want to send us email now and make it ding during a show. us at scottsadie.com. It routes it literally to both of us. That's us. And it's good to hear from you. I checked. I didn't do it, live. I checked. There's no new 5-star reviews, but you can stop by and you can leave us one. That's awesome. Also, you can sign
What
up
if
to
I
receive
told you, hang on, let me see if I can find it. But somebody, I think her name was Alexa, and she wrote and she said, I love listening to you guys, and here's my 5-star review. And again, I love it, but I'm saying if you don't actually put it down, does it even count?
Does it go?
Thank you, ma'am, but damn it, go over and click it in, and then, we get off on it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and it's not even, here's the true reason why I do this. I'm not that thirsty. But the reason I do that, when you give us a kind 5-star review, especially on Apple, it bumps us up in their algorithm. And that all of a sudden, that means that our podcast will be displayed to more people because we're all about driving listenership right now. So literally, you're doing us a solid if you go give us a 5-star review or a 1-star. Any sort of engagement is fine because that bumps us up in the algorithm and they will suggest our podcast to more just rando listeners.
So please leave us. So thank you for the message, but it really benefits us 0%, except for you being kind and saying that, which was very kind.
ScottandSadie.com is the website, and you can go there and you can sign up, which would be awesome, for our daily email where I send out the Scott and Sadie Sound Off poll each day. The poll from last Friday, it's that magical time of the year when the government hands you back a slice of your own money and calls it generosity. Literally, some people were talking here the other day. That's what made me do this poll. They were talking about the tax returns they get back. And then I read this article about here's what you should do with your tax return. Tax return. I haven't seen one of those since I've been married, and that's been 28 years. Thank you. So I gave some options there of what you're going to do with your tax return. Retail therapy was one of the options. Nobody chose that. 0% response. A full.
Why do you think that is?
Because the full 60% of the respondents said I'm paying off more bills. That's the smart thing to do with it. Vacation fund. 20% of the respondents said that. 10% said save or invest. And another 10% said other. What was the other response? What's a refund? As a small business, we pay so heavily into taxes. That's the case. I haven't seen a refund in decades, approaching 3 decades. Not that I'm bitter about it or anything.
You do sound very bitter.
You know how I love me some Uncle Sam. And you know what the 16th Amendment is, passed in 1913, that allowed the Uncle Sam to start dipping his hand in your pocket. And I'm telling you, with that much jingling around in my pocket, I'm not enjoying it as much as you think I should.
Yeah, but it wasn't 50% when they decided that was a good idea. No. Now it's like 50%. Back then, wasn't it like 2%? That's all we need.
Do you realize why the Patriots back in the day dumped tea into the Boston Harbor? You realize why you know what they were protesting? A 0.5% tax.
And now it's at 50%.
No,
if
it's
those
50.
if those people who threw that tea in could see now that they're taking halvesies, that would, I mean, wow. It's really messed up.
It's all at scottsadie.com. Go check that out. And thank you for listening.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. Be sure to head it to listen to me. Be sure to click automatic download, and maybe you could leave a rating. You can do it on Apple where you can actually write things, or you can just give a star rating on Spotify. It's so awesome. I get so excited. I'm a very simple gal, and those stars, they just get me excited. That sounded weird. That sound weird? Before I leave, I just have to say a big thank you to my friends at Garage Door Service and Sales. Garage Door Service and Sales, they've been in business for decades, literally decades. I mean, like older than me. And how long I've been alive, which I feel like has been a really long time. Oh no, they were chugging away with the day I was born, putting in brand new garage doors, doing different tune-ups. And their work ethic hasn't changed, but you know what has changed? The product, the technology, whether you need a big job or a little job, they can set you up with whatever you are looking for. My parents, they have an estate gate from Garage Door Service and Sales, and they own a storage facility guess what? All those big storage doors where you just click the button and the doors go up and down. It's so nice. They love it. And they got it done through Garage Door Service and Sales. They've got great financing. And again, they work with homeowners with just a spring that's maybe a little too squeaky for you, or they work with big companies with if you got big construction needs. It's Garage Door Service and Sales, a proud sponsor of the Sadie and Friends podcast.